Welcome to the Savage College Football Podcast for your Week 14 preview. I am Kale Wilson, along with...
I am your sexy daytime host, Eric Wilson. How are you, my son?
I'm all right. It's the most wonderful time of the year, man.
It is
Thanksgiving week.
And it is also
Rivalry
weekend.
Man, this is the week where you throw every game out the window beforehand. Like, this is the week where records don't matter. Like, you don't really care about that. All you really care about is just giving your rival absolute hell for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you just hate them.
Yeah. The other thing about this week, too, that's awesome is there are so many rivalry games that could potentially impact the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Like, it's an added bonus because rivalry week used to just kind of be like, the backyard brawl for whatever state you were coming from. And then on top of that, it would be like there might be a couple games in contention. But now, because of the playoff expansion, the rivalry week games, like throughout the entire docket, have an impact on the playoffs.
I also and I don't know, I don't want this to sound like I'm sadistic, but I love to see the fights in the games. I love to see them. It just makes me so hyped.
It makes you hyped.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do we want to just go through the rankings real quick? You want to just go ahead and start with them?
Yeah, I was going to say, there wasn't anything super, huge from last week, and there's so much rivalry stuff that, let's just jump into the rankings.
All right. So the rankings came out last night. We're recording this on Wednesday, November 26th, and the rankings always come out on Tuesdays. So less than 24 hours after the rankings come out, at number 25, we've got the Arizona Wildcats. The Wildcats are 8-3. Pretty big improvement from last year. Last year, I think the Wildcats only won a total of 4 games. And they've won their last 4. They've had some pretty impressive victories. They're coming off a 41-17 win over Baylor. And their rival, Arizona State, is also in the top 25. So we're going to have a top 25 battle for the Territorial Cup in the desert. Even if it's not going to be for a college football playoff spot, you love to see rivalry games when they're both top 25. Still means a lot.
The fact that it's called the Territorial Cup, you have done your pregame prep.
Dude, I know. Well, you know this because I've loved college football since since I was 10,
Word.
11. So, and rivalry week is one of my favorite weeks of the year. At number 24, the Tulane Green Wave. As of right now, they are projected to be the Group of 5 team to make the college football playoff. They will officially submit themselves a spot in the American Conference title game if they can defeat 1-10 Charlotte on Saturday.
I think that is a pretty good chance right there.
I do too.
Charlotte is pretty terrible.
They are. At number 23, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
The Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech dropped 7 spots.
That's one of the only things really that's worth talking about from last week.
Yeah, well, it's a good time. Just jump into it.
Georgia Tech, we talked about this, I think, last week, how they had lost to NC State. They had a bye week, and then they struggled, had to fight and claw to beat a now 1-10 Boston College team, 36-34. And we had talked about they had 2 tough remaining games. They had a tough Pitt team, and then they're playing Georgia this week. They weren't able to pull it out against Pitt. Pittsburgh, the score does not really tell the tale of how dominant Pitt was in this game, because Pitt came out and just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. Well, so Georgia Tech, is predominantly a rushing football team, right? That's what they really want to do. They were held to 121 yards rushing on the ground. Haynes King only had 76 yards, who's their, kind of their go-to guy outside of Jamal Haynes. But you're right. Pitt was coming off of a shellacking from Notre Dame. I think they had something to prove. I think they did not feel like they played how they should have played against Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech wasn't ready for the buzzsaw, man.
No,
the Panthers
they weren't.
Freaking got after their ass.
So now Georgia Tech is sitting at 9-2, and if they want a chance at getting into the playoff, they have to beat number 4 Georgia.
Yeah, which, I know we're going to talk about that coming up, but good luck. They gave up over 400 yards of total offense to Pitt, which I'm not denigrating Pitt, but Pitt's not Georgia. Mason Heinzel is, not Gunnar Stockton. He's a good quarterback, but, Georgia Tech let him go 20 for 27 for 226 yards. that is Georgia Tech's weakness, is the back end of their defense.
Yeah, and Mason
You know?
Heichel's a true freshman. Gunnar Stockton is a junior.
Yes, a
So
savvy veteran.
That's a big difference there.
Yeah.
And also Stockton plays behind a much better O-line. So
yeah, that's true. It is going to be a tall order. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, Georgia Tech was a disappointing performance against Pitt last week.
SMU comes back in the rankings. We haven't seen them in the rankings in a while. I think it's been like since the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks since we've seen them.
I think so.
They defeated Louisville 38-6. Dude, what's happened to Louisville, man?
I don't know. Louisville's kind of bipolar too. You know, they've had some big wins throughout the course of the season, but they've dropped 2 in a row. It's kind of like you don't know which team's going to show.
They dropped 3 in a row now.
3 in a row now?
Yeah, because before they lost to Clemson, they lost to somebody else. I forgot who it was, but I remember we talked about it. We had talked about how we thought they were going to come out and bounce back, and they lost to Clemson, and now they just got absolutely shellacked by SMU.
Big disappointment so far this season. Like they looked like they were on the upswing, and then just off the cliff.
Number 20, we've got Arizona State. They've won 3 in a row, coming off of a 42-17 victory at Colorado. Dude, Raleek Brown is a stud. That guy's insane. He's super fast. I don't know if you saw. I don't remember how many rushing yards he had, but Arizona State recovered I think they either recovered a punt. No, they forced a fumble, and they recovered the ball at their own 12-yard line. And Raleek Brown on the first play of the drive goes for an 88-yard touchdown.
Dude can smoke it, man.
That he's a stud. I think it's safe to say, I don't know what year he is, but as long as he keeps up his performance, I think it's safe to say you'll see him playing on Sundays.
Yeah, it's hard too for those a lot of those West Coast teams, you know, college football is obviously the biggest in the Southeast, but obviously it's big in the Big Ten. It's the televised games. If you're anywhere east of the Mississippi, you're not getting a whole lot of the Pac-10, you know, or the
Big 12
or any of those teams from out west. And so it's hard to see some of those kids, but he's a talented player, no question.
It still feels weird to call Arizona State and Colorado a Big 12 game. That's a Pac-12 game if I've ever seen one.
I know I keep saying Pac-12, but it's like the
we should just be in protest. Stop calling games like Big 10 games that are with Southern Cal.
We could just
and
call
UCLA.
them like the way they should be.
Yeah, let's just call them Pac-12 games.
We'd be like, hey, it's a Pac-12 tilt between UCLA and USC.
Yeah, let's just do that. Coming in at 19, Tennessee. Tennessee just beat Florida for the first time since 2003. They took the Gators to the woodshed, 31-11.
I was going to say beat is a compliment.
Yeah,
you know, that was a serious freaking Heine spanking.
Well, I mean, I was expecting that if Tennessee did not beat Florida in the swamp this year, that would have been
their opportunity.
I don't think Tennessee fans would have been very happy.
No, but the weird part is Florida's one of those teams where you haven't really known which Florida team's going to show up either. They've played a couple good teams.
I mean, they played really good against Georgia.
Yeah.
They played who else? They beat Texas.
But then they'll go out and lay an egg against somebody else. So you just don't really know what you're going to get when they line up on Saturday.
Yeah. At number 18, you've got Virginia. Virginia's coming off of a bye week after winning at Duke 2 weeks ago, 34-17. That was a pretty good win for the Cavs. I mean, I know we talked about that last week too, but we had talked about how we thought Duke was probably going to stay in it and keep it close. That's what a lot of people on ESPN were saying, and Virginia really dominated that game. And then number 17, you've got Southern Cal. They dropped 2 spots after falling at Oregon 42-27.
Yeah, which I think that Oregon game was a pretty good bellwether for where is Southern Cal right now.
Yeah.
Right. Because everyone was kind of like, hey, they've been on this run. Offensively, they really kind of figuring out who they are.
They competed.
They're a good football team, but they're not
not
an elite football team.
Yeah.
No.
At number 16 comes Texas. Texas just won a shootout game over Arkansas, 52-37. Did you see Arch Manning? 6 touchdowns. A rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, 4 passing touchdowns.
Yeah. If Texas could learn to play some defense, which was crazy because at the beginning of the year, their defense is really, really good. But the last couple of weeks, their defense has let them down.
Well, I think so personally, prior
to the Georgia game, that's what we were talking about was Texas defense.
Yeah. I think Well, now if you look at it, their past 2 games, I mean, Vanderbilt and Georgia, they didn't really give up a ton of points until it was the fourth quarter because their defense had been on the field for so long because
their offense couldn't do anything.
Their offense couldn't do anything
That's
anymore.
a valid point.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're on the field for, 60% of the game, I mean, it's you're going to get gassed eventually, no matter how conditioned you are.
Right.
And then coming in at number 15, Michigan, your boys from the Mitten.
Are you saying that I'm slanted towards a specific team on the college football landscape?
Well, you said last week you are like a homer for all Michigan teams.
I'm a closet Michigan guy.
Yeah. I mean, you love to see Michigan, Michigan State, Western Michigan, Eastern, Central do well, even though you never want to move back there.
Valid. Yes. Even though I'm fairly try to be as impartial as possible. I do have a few teams that I like, but I mean, here's my question about Michigan, right? Michigan is 15th in the country. They're 9-2. They moved up 3 spots.
Well, they've won 5 straight. I mean, they're playing their best ball at the time they should.
So that's the question is, and I know we'll get into this when we get to the Ohio State game, but that's the real question as we start to look forward. Is Michigan a good enough team to compete at that level? We will know a lot more after this weekend.
Coming in at number 14, Vanderbilt still lingering around. Their Commodores are not out. They're not out.
They are hanging around.
Now,
they stayed at 14.
They've scored 45 in their last 2 games. They had a close almost upset to Auburn 3 weeks ago, but they were able to pull that one out 45-38. And then this past weekend, they laid a shellacking on Kentucky, which honestly surprised me. I was expecting Vanderbilt to win, but I didn't think they were going to dominate Kentucky as much as they did because Kentucky's been playing good these last few weeks before this game.
I felt the same way. Kentucky looked like they were a team on the upswing, like they had figured some things out. They were not that they were like, a great football team, but just they were beginning to become a competitive football team. So that game surprised me. I thought Kentucky was going to be a lot more competitive.
Yeah. And now Vanderbilt, we'll talk about that after we get past the rankings because they've got a big rivalry game on their end coming up as well. Utah, they have won 4 in a row, but they fall a spot from number 12 after winning a shootout versus Kansas State, 51-47. If you like defense, that was not a game you wanted to watch. That was a phew. That game was full of offensive fireworks.
That was an offensive shootout. That was a very interesting game, to say the least.
Coming in at number 12.
Please don't.
Can we
just skip this one?
We
just skip this one?
Miami at number 12 after defeating Virginia Tech 34-17.
Explain to me why Miami moves up a spot by beating Virginia Tech.
I think the reason why was because Utah,
because Utah gets into a shootout with K-State?
K-State's not bowl eligible either.
Right.
But Kansas, and it was also at Utah. And I think, because this game was at Virginia Tech, I mean, Kansas State shouldn't have competed with Utah as much as they did. And plus, I think Utah, we've talked a lot about the year how Utah had a really good defense, and Kansas State was kind of able to just go through that defense no problem.
I mean, if Miami has not yet proven to the playoff committee and to anyone with gray matter inside of their skull that they are a team that will let you down the minute you start to think that they have any opportunity to be a spoiler or play at an elite level, not happening.
They've got a big game this weekend again, we're not going to talk about rivalry weekend games. We're going to give that their own segment. Number 11, another team you don't really root for, BYU. You're not a fan of the Mighty Mormons.
It's not that I'm not a fan of them. I just don't necessarily think that they belong there.
So I do want to say,
I think they're there because of their record, I've said this before, but if you look at their schedule does not put them there.
Well, I mean, if you really look at it, if you're a Power 4 team or a Power 5 team and you're 10-1, I mean, it's like no matter what your schedule is, you're going to be in the top 12.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it is.
They're very similar to like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right. They've got a very
big brand,
cheesy schedule. They've got a national brand that people like. And like you said, if they can get up to this point in the season with one loss, they're going to be up there.
I do want to say I was rooting for them really hard against Cincinnati. I don't know if you saw the leaked video, but Cincinnati, I don't know if it was their fans or just their student section, but they had a very classless moment during the game. The entire I don't remember if it was the students or the fans, but an entire section of the stadium started chanting "F the Mormons."
Classy.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm rooting for BYU because that's pretty messed up.
But they're from Ohio, they're from Ohio. So what do you expect?
The Michigan roots come out. So yeah, I mean, good job BYU for taking care of business against Cincinnati there.
Yeah.
Then they've
got
a
slapping on the Bearcats.
Yeah. I bet think again after making a chant for the mighty Mormons now. At number 10, you've got Alabama.
Interesting that the like literally from 11 all the way to 8, nobody moved.
Well, I mean, if you saw who Alabama played, they played Eastern Illinois. I wouldn't have moved them up.
No, I wouldn't have moved him up, but I'm just saying, like, there was no movement at all, from number 8 all the way to 11. Like, everyone just stayed exactly where they were.
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame stays at 9 after they beat Syracuse 70-7. I mean, dude. Now here's the thing: Syracuse has been out their starting quarterback since like week 3 or week 4,
early in the season,
because and their win against Clemson, Steve Angeli tore his ACL non-contact, and they haven't had a quarterback. So I'm not gonna say that like
it's as impressive as it looks.
It's still impressive because you scored 70 points against a Power 4 team, but Syracuse has been struggling big time this year.
Yeah,
and Syracuse knows that, and the college football playoff committee knows that too.
Yeah.
But I will say though that Notre Dame scored. They went up 21-0 before their offense even took the field.
I know. I saw that. That was insane.
Yeah.
Like literally they had not taken an offensive snap and it was 21-0.
Yeah.
What, 2 punt returns for a touchdown and a pick 6? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel for Syracuse fans this year.
That is brutal, man.
Yeah. You beat Clemson, but because I know that they had wanted to do that for a really long time.
The highlight of your season if you're a Syracuse fan.
But yeah, you're like, we won, but at what cost?
A big one.
Yeah, pretty big one.
The rest of your season, basically.
Coming in at number 8, you've got Oklahoma after a defensive gritty 17-6 win over Missouri.
Yeah, that was an ugly game. But if you like defense, it was a pretty game.
Yeah, I mean, we had texted about that game a little bit. Missouri came out the gates like running the ball down their throat. Like we thought this was going to be like
that first Missouri drive. I was sitting there going, okay.
Ahmad Hardy was
they had a game
toting that rock, man.
But you know what? That's a Brent Venables staple. Is like, okay, get on the sideline. What'd they do to us the first series? Make adjustments. After that, Mizzou was like just
only scored 3 points the rest of the game.
Spellbound by the Oklahoma defense. Could not do anything the rest of the game.
Number 7, Ole Miss drops a spot, falling one spot. They had a bye week. They beat Florida 2 weeks ago, 34-24. They didn't play. So it kind of makes sense that they dropped a spot. And then Oregon moves up to that 6th spot after defeating Southern Cal 42-27. At number 5, we've got Texas Tech after beating UCF 48-9. Texas Tech is looking real good, man. I haven't seen them look this good in a long time.
I don't know if I've ever seen them look this good. I mean,
were they this good when they had like Michael Crabtree and stuff, and then when they beat
No, I mean,
I remember that was in the 2000s.
They were really right good
before I started getting into college football.
They could score a lot of points, but they weren't as good on defense. They were not as a complete of a football team. They'd go out and score like 45 points, but give up like 38 or 40.
That's been the story of Texas Tech before this year, ever since I watched college football. I mean, when they had like guys like Patrick Mahomes and stuff, you could count on them to put up 40 or 50 points a game. You could also count on them to give up 40 or 50 points a game.
That's pretty much true.
Yeah.
They're a much more complete team now.
Coming in at number 4, Georgia, after defeating Charlotte 35-3. The story is always the same thing. Like Georgia, like whenever they play teams that are lower, like Group of 5 or FCS teams, you always take the team they play to cover the spread, because Georgia's not going to go out and bust out a bunch of fancy stuff against Charlotte or Austin Peay.
Kirby Smart's not going to show stuff. He's going to be like, okay, we're
going to run the ball down their throat because we're bigger and we're a lot more physical.
And let's get out of here healthy.
Exactly. So they won 35-3. And then number 3, Texas A&M, after taking care of Samford 48-0. Number 2, Indiana again. Indiana had a bye week after defeating Wisconsin last week, 31-7. or 2 weeks ago, 31. And then number 1, Ohio State, after defeating Rutgers 42-9. Now, I know we didn't. This is like the one thing I do want to bring up from last week as well. How about Wisconsin taking Illinois to the woodshed, 27-10?
Yeah, I was shocked by that one. I was like, okay, what's going on here, Badgers? Like,
Well,
you just kind of showed back up, and
dude,
Illinois was ranked 21.
Illinois has been that team, though, that like has been in and out of the rankings all year. I mean, they'll play someone really well, and you'll be like, all right, Indiana, all right, Illinois. Like, nice to know that you guys are like playing well. And then the next week they go and drop it to a ranked team, and then they come back out and they beat another good team. So they're like, Illinois has been very bipolar, but we've talked about Wisconsin's always had a really good defense, but they were able to score a lot more than I expected.
Yeah. Well, Illinois is one of those teams that's like been kind of flirting with success the last few years, and they haven't figured out how to be consistently successful. Like I think they win, and then they start to feel pretty good about themselves, and then they drop something they shouldn't. Overall, they're a good football team, but they've just lost some games they shouldn't lose.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about the rankings. We've talked about really like the only mainly the big parts from last week. So let's go into rivalry week. Obviously, it's rivalry week. I want to talk about every game that happened. So there were 2 action games yesterday. Bowling Green improved to 4-8 to finish off their season, 45-14. UMass goes 0-12 for the first time in program history. Your boys in the Battle of the Mitten, Western Michigan defeats Eastern Michigan 31-21. Western Michigan is 8-4, 7-1 in the MAC. I'm pretty sure the Broncos are going to the MAC title game. And then it's Wednesday, no college football today, no game today. And then Thursday, you got a pretty good American Conference matchup. Navy at 8-2 at 8-3 Memphis. If you're a Group of 5 guy, that's a good football game to watch. And then Friday is where we really get into the nitty gritty. I mean, there's a bunch of games on Friday and Saturday. I'm not really going to go into detail. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. But Friday, the Egg Bowl, number 7 Ole Miss at Mississippi State. That game's I'm excited for that game because you're fighting for 2 different things here. I mean, Ole Miss, they're sitting here at 10-1. They're not going to make the SEC championship, I don't think, unless a bunch of stuff goes their way. So they're kind of fighting to be in the college football playoff. Mississippi State, however, is 5-6. They're fighting for a spot in a bowl game, and a lot of motivation for the Bulldogs is they're hosting Ole Miss in Starkville, and again, you're fighting for a spot in a postseason game against your arch rival. Last year, Mississippi State went 2-10, but they only lost to Ole Miss by like 12. They still kept it close in Oxford, competitive. So I would not be surprised if this game is close. In rivalry week, you can never really make any crazy predictions.
No, I mean, this one's at Mississippi State, Davis Wade Stadium. So this is a recurring theme that you're going to see as we kind of go through rivalry week. Is a lot of these rivalry week. I'm Elmo Fudd. A lot of these games that you're going to see where the team that has the most to lose in a lot of these games is the visiting team.
Yeah.
Right. And so that always plays a factor is the travel and having to play, in an opposing team stadium, especially in a game like this, where, like you said, in a rivalry game, no one cares what the record is. Anybody can win. They're used to winning. And Mississippi State's a team that has not been Ole Miss is a team that hasn't been consistently dominant the whole year.
No.
Right? They've won football games, but they've had plenty of games that they've won that were closer than they should be. So that's one question, right?
And we've also seen Mississippi State like compete with some top 25 teams. I mean, they beat Arizona State week 2. They almost beat Tennessee, and I think it was an overtime or 2 overtimes. And then they almost beat Texas. That game went to an overtime or 2. So I mean, they've clearly been able to compete with some top 25 teams. Ole Miss is another top 25 team coming into Starkville. Those cowbells are going to be rocking. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that game. I do miss that game being played on Thanksgiving, though.
Yeah, that was a good Thanksgiving game, but it's a Friday noon game, which is cool. So it's still going to be like an early game. One of the interesting kind of sub components of this game is Ole Miss in the running game. So Mississippi State has struggled defending the run consistently throughout the course of the year.
And Ole Miss has a guy named Kawan Lacey.
And Kawan Lacey is a legit freaking stud. An interesting guy when you look at the way he's built. He's not built like a traditional back. He's really tall. Like he's like 6'3" or something like that. He's got long legs. He's not like that short kind of compact back, but he's a breakaway guy who runs with power. And so, can Mississippi State bow up on the run game? And, and also can Trinidad Chambliss, play under pressure, right? He's been under pressure the whole season, but this is a game that they should go in, on paper and play well and dominate.
But we thought they were going to do that against Florida.
Yeah, but we thought they were going to do that against Florida. And the line on this game is only 7.5. So, even the odds makers are not like,
they don't think Ole Miss is going to dominate.
They're not sold on Ole Miss dominating. So this is one you definitely want to keep your eye
on. This doesn't really have any college football playoff implications, but I know you're a big guy that loves defense, especially Big Ten matchups. Iowa and Nebraska in Lincoln, Nebraska, battle of 7-4. That game is always low scoring. That game is always between two country corn-fed teams. The game is probably going to be 13-10 final score. And those are always the type of games that you love to watch because you love slobber knockers where it's just a Donnybrook, blood all over the field. It's everyone's gonna have to be carried off on a stretcher.
Yep, bunch of thick-ankled country boys coming up against each other on the O&D line. Lots of mashing of the faces, lots of getting in the body, lots of zone blocking, lots of down pull around.
That game's going to be a lot of ground and pound, stumbling, bumbling.
Yeah, I know it's like you said, it's not like a premier like national game from a ranking standpoint, but if you just like football, that's a good game to watch.
Yeah. And then here's one, the clean old-fashioned hate. Number 4,
how good
Georgia.
Of a game? How good of a name is that? Like that's one of the best rivalry names that there is. Georgia Tech, clean old fashioned hate, baby.
Number 4, Georgia Tech. It's technically, well, I don't know. They technically call it neutral site, but Georgia Tech is the home
Atlanta.
team. It's at the Falcons Stadium.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 10 minutes from Georgia Tech Stadium. So obviously Georgia Tech is the home team, but I mean, this is gonna be a pretty crazy game. I mean, we remember last year Georgia beat Georgia Tech in 8 overtimes. I mean, Georgia Tech took Georgia to the limit last year.
Yeah, I think the one thing though is Georgia Tech snuck up on Georgia a little bit last year. That's not going to happen this year.
Georgia knows Georgia Tech is a good team.
Knows Georgia Tech is a good football team. But with that being said, Georgia Tech's weaknesses have kind of been exposed in the last 4 weeks, right? I mean, they are not a great defense. I think they're ranked 77th in the country in total defense, and Georgia's in the top 15. Georgia in the last few games has really gotten their running game going, which they struggled with in the beginning of the season. To me, this comes down to a couple things. Georgia's got to protect the football. To me, the only way that Georgia Tech really has a chance in this game is if Georgia gives them 3 turnovers and they are able to operate on some short fields. And then are they able to get Haynes King, in a situation where he can be productive in the run game? He turned the ball over twice last week. So he's got to protect the football. Both the games that Georgia Tech's has lost, the turnovers have been a problem. So I think this is an uphill battle. Georgia's favored by 13.5 in Atlanta.
Yeah. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but this one's kind of for I would say like a conference title game, I guess, in the group of 5, because 9-2 San Diego State, get this, plays at 8-3 New Mexico. It's been a long time since New Mexico has been this good. I mean, I haven't seen New Mexico play this good football in a long time.
Well, let me just say this. I've been involved with college football for 30-something years.
Yeah.
And I've never used the word New Mexico and good in the same sentence.
Exactly.
So
I mean, New Mexico, if you look at them, I mean, they've played pretty well. I mean, they've got a loss to Michigan to open up their year. I mean, we remember at the beginning of the year they beat UCLA 35-10.
Yeah,
I mean,
they seemed like a good win at the time, but
well, if you're a group of 5 team, if you beat a Power 5 team, I think you still get a pretty like good what's the right word? You get some props.
Yeah.
Even if you're a group of 5 team, and especially if you're a program like New Mexico who's kind of struggled. And then they lost to San Jose State, Boise State a couple weeks after, but they've won their last 5 games. They beat UNLV, Dan Mullen's Rebels, which was pretty impressive, 40-35.
You really got to want to get back into coaching to take the UNLV job.
Yeah, right?
Like, dude, I'm just saying, and I like coaching. I coached for a long time, But if I had Dan Mullen's job and I was on Easy Street up there in the booth with that mic in my mouth, like making a lot of dough, I would not have gone back to the slog at UNLV in Vegas.
Well, I mean,
but he's a ball coach, man. He wants to coach ball.
UNLV is also pretty good. I think they're like 10 or 9-2 right now or something like that.
Dan Mullen's a good football coach, dude.
No, yeah, he is.
He's a good football coach.
They shouldn't have fired him at Florida. I mean, I don't think they ever should have.
I mean, have they been good since then?
No, their best record was 6-7.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that, Florida is a victim of their own Florida-ness.
Right.
You know, I'll call like I used to say that about Tennessee. The Tennessee was like they would fire, they fired themselves into mediocrity. Florida's done the same thing.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of underground games, that San Diego State New Mexico game is a pretty good game to watch. San Diego State's favored by 1.5. Games played in New Mexico. Indiana plays at Purdue. Indiana's favored by 28.5. I am taking Indiana to cover. Purdue is not very good. Indiana is very good.
Same.
And now here we go with a couple big games. Number 3, Texas A&M at number 16, Texas. The battle for the Lone Star State. I'm excited for this game.
I'm fired up about this game. Interestingly enough, have you already looked at it?
A&M is favored by 2.5.
Oh, I hate you. I was going to say, don't look at it. It's only a 2.5-point spread. Now, it's at Austin.
Yeah.
Right. So
Texas is a tough place to play.
Yeah. So it's at Austin, at Texas, and A&M's favored by 2.5. But that's not as big of a spread as you might think based upon A&M. Now, obviously, I think they laid an egg a few weeks ago against South Carolina.
But they still,
but they
even though they laid an egg, they were still able to pull out the win.
They were able to pull out the win. Texas has been Texas.
Yeah, right.
Texas is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they'll play great one week, and then the next week they'll be like, sorry, we got you guys. We fooled you because that's not who we are.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So, I mean, the real question here is,
what version of Texas is going to show up? Because Texas A&M is going to show up.
Yeah, Texas A&M is going to show up, and Texas A&M is going to score points.
Yeah.
Right. So my question is, can the Texas offense show up and stay, blow for blow with A&M's offense? Because Texas is not going to slow A&M down. They have too many weapons between Marcel Reed and Owens and Concepcion, from a running back and a wide receiver perspective. I mean, there's too many weapons on the A&M offense for Texas to think that they're going to be able to shut them down. It's really, can Texas score points? Now, I will say Arch Manning is definitely peaking at the right time for Texas to have a chance in this game. To me, what's going to come down on here is I think A&M will be able to run the football and throw the football. If A&M is able to make Texas one-dimensional and all they can do is throw, they're hosed because A&M can get after the quarterback. But if Texas can figure out a way to be consistent and be able to run the ball at least.
That's not an easy defense to run the ball.
It's not easy. No, that's what I'm saying. But if Texas could figure out a way to run the ball for 130, 140 yards just to keep A&M honest so they don't pin their ears back, they might have a chance. But I'm taking A&M, and I'd be giving the points.
Yeah, Texas A&M is looking for their first win against the Longhorns since 2010. The last time they played in Austin, Texas A&M won. That was in 2010 because in 2011 and last season they played in College Station.
Well, interestingly enough, from a productivity standpoint, Marcel Reed, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks. Arch Manning, 23 touchdowns, 7 picks. Pretty even productivity-wise at the quarterback position. So that's going to be a matchup to watch. But I just think A&M's got too many weapons.
And then coming about an hour and a half after kickoff of that game on Fox, again, the battle for the Territorial Cup. Not really college football playoff standings or spot on the line, but two top 25 teams playing in a rivalry game. Obviously, a longtime rivals, Arizona at Arizona State, the number 25 Wildcats taking on the number 20 Sun Devils. Arizona favored by 1.5. That's another good game that Vegas thinks is going to be close.
Yeah, this is, it's
a Pac-12 matchup. It's going to say Big 12, but it's Pac-12.
It's Pac-12 match. That's exactly right. But so one thing that might have gotten lost in this whole thing is every game we've talked about so far is on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about a college football weekend,
Yes.
literally Friday, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. We haven't even talked about this one yet. Utah, Kansas, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Indiana, Purdue, Texas, Texas A&M, and Arizona, Arizona State to wrap up the night. And that ain't even Saturday yet.
Yeah.
Like, there's some hella college football on Friday, boys.
Dude, I'm excited to see how Jordan Tyson does against the Arizona defense. Jordan Tyson's a stud, the wide receiver at Arizona State.
Yeah.
He's got 59 catches, 689 yards, 8 touchdowns. The thing is, though, Sam Levitt, I don't think he's playing.
Is he hurt?
Yeah, I think he is. Sam Levitt's out the rest of the year. So they got Jeff Sims at quarterback.
Is that part of the Sims clan? Like Phil Sims and
I don't know if
Chris
it is
Sims,
or not.
the kid that played at Texas. Like, is that part of that family?
But Jeff Sims has his jersey in the College Football Hall of Fame right now because
Why?
I think, what was it? I think it was against Iowa State. It was against Iowa State, or Texas Tech, one of the two. Jeff Sims had 177 passing yards for a touchdown, 29 carries for 228 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. The most carries by a quarterback in college football, the most rushing yards by a quarterback, I think, in college football or in Arizona State in a long time.
So he's in the Arizona State Hall of Fame or the College Football
Hall
of Fame?
No, his jersey's in the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta because of that performance.
Just because of that one game?
Well, I think because it was a team record. I don't know if it was. Yeah, Arizona State quarterback rushing record, 228 yards against Iowa State.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be an interesting game there. Noah Fafita has been playing his butt off, too. Listen to this. 2,677 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions.
Lots of good football Friday, man.
Yeah, man. Football Friday. And now we go to Saturday, November 29th. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the game that you grew up watching?
Let's just talk about the game.
Dude, no trophies needed.
It is the noon kickoff. It's a nooner.
It's always a nooner now.
Let's start the day with the game.
Dude, there's no trophy needed in this rivalry because just winning is enough.
No. All those stupid freaking I'm not on whatever. Egg Bowl trophies and the battle for the
that's cool and all.
The battle for the Slappy and guess what? You just need to play the game. Michigan, Ohio State is a freaking
absolute hate-filled rivalry.
Hate fest. I
mean, you grew up in Michigan. You experienced that rivalry firsthand.
Hey, there's a reason. One of the best Heisman commercial I've seen in a long time is the one they've got right now with Eddie George, where he's driving and he starts getting sweaty by the Michigan border. And everybody's like, "Are you okay?" And he literally stops right at the sign that says "Welcome to Michigan." And he's like, hits the nav button. And Tebow goes, 12-hour detour. And he's like, "Yep, we're going cross country." And he hits the field because he's not driving through Michigan. I know that sounds crazy, but if you have grown up in either one of those states or been around from anyone from any of those states, it is kind of like that.
I mean, even though I didn't grow up in Michigan, half of my family's from Michigan.
Yeah.
So I've still experienced that rivalry. I mean, everyone on our side of the family is either Michigan or Michigan State fans.
Well, Ohio State won't even say the name.
Yeah.
If you're from Ohio State, the players, the coaches, they will not say the name Michigan.
No,
they call it
the team up north.
The team up north.
And I remember I was like, "Hey, Dad, I think I might want an Ohio State sweatshirt." You're like, "I'm disowning you."
That's right. Well, I mean, listen, we got to go to
yes. And that was your first ever Michigan game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a go-to game guy, right? That's never been my thing.
You went to state games growing up because that was a lot closer.
A few, but I mean, just because I played forever and then I coached forever, I was always on a field on a Saturday. So my opportunity to go to games was minimal. And then when I got done coaching, I usually don't like to go to games because I don't want to sit in the stands. I don't like to listen to people critique stuff that they don't know anything about. So if I go to a game, I usually want to be on the sideline, but
this was different.
Well, we had a kid getting recruited, right, who ended up going to Michigan. So that was very cool. But so we got, sideline passes. We got early access. We could go and we're able to have breakfast.
Walk through the tunnel,
which was freaking sweet, dude. We got to walk through the tunnel at Ann Arbor. It was college game day was there.
It was snowing.
It was Michigan hadn't beaten Ohio State in how long? Like 10 years?
Michigan was wearing all blue.
Michigan came out in all blue. That morning, it had not snowed like the entire year. That morning, the snow just started coming down. It was a noon kickoff. By the time kickoff came around,
Dude,
there was probably 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Dude, do you remember how cold it was the night before the game?
Yeah, well, that's why it snowed, because it's cold as
it
balls.
was negative 15 degrees. Do you remember that night that we came back and like I feel like at the hotel we stayed at, a bunch of Ohio State fans.
Oh, there was a bunch of Ohio State fans.
Do you remember when we got out and there was like an Ohio State fan right in front of us and he couldn't even walk in because he was so hammered?
He was so hammered. He was like tipping over in the
elevator.
Would,
like there were a couple times where you like put your hand out because you didn't want him to fall on his face.
I propped him up, dude. I had to prop him up. Yeah, and Michigan literally came out and just played their freaking fannies off, threw the ball.
Haskins, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. And who was the quarterback then? He ended up transferring to
Cade McNamara.
Yeah, Cade McNamara. He ended up going to where? Missouri?
Iowa,
yeah. But he had a heck of a game. They played great defense, and that was the beginning of kind of Michigan starting to dominate that rivalry in the last 5 years.
Dude, I mean, you could not have scripted that. That was a perfect Big Ten top 5 tilt.
Like, I will probably never go to that game again just because I'm not a go to game guys, but you couldn't have gone to a better
I know.
Michigan Ohio State.
There was also a fight. You remember the fight?
Yeah. And then
everyone, the corner and all the offensive linemen, everyone stormed the field. Dude, you got caught up in that.
And that was Hutch's senior year too. Hutchinson was a senior that year.
Him and David Ojabo.
Yeah. So you can this is one of those, and last year was a perfect example, right? Ohio State was undefeated going into this game. Michigan was like 5-6 or 6-5, and Michigan freaking beat them down, man.
Dude,
it was this is a great freaking game.
It is the I will look, I don't really have too much of a say because I'm not a Michigan or Ohio State fan. Obviously, since I have Michigan ties, I root for Michigan.
Yeah.
But it's really the only week where I'm like, okay, if Michigan like I want Michigan to win. It's the only week of the year where I really care how Michigan does. But dude, you can't say this is not the best rivalry in college football. I've heard people this week, they're like, oh yeah, the Iron Bowl's the best.
No,
absolutely
no,
not.
The Iron Bowl is not the best. I mean, one of the things that makes this a great, it's not even in state.
No.
Right?
They're bordering states.
Right. Clemson, Carolina, in state.
Georgia
Tech, in state. Alabama, Auburn, in state. I get why they're rivals. These are 2 different states. There's out of state hate, you know what I'm saying? It's a great freaking game. So to start off Saturday with this game, so within the game now, my question is this: Bryce Underwood, freshman playing quarterback for Michigan, definitely has matured a lot throughout the course of the season, but dude, Ohio State is hitting on all cylinders. Ohio State has not
insane.
They have not stumbled the entire year.
No,
every team.
Their worst performance was in week 1, and they won 14-7 against Texas.
And other than that, every game they have won handedly, dominantly. They look like the number 1 team in the country.
That defense is something special.
Yeah,
man.
That's so. As much of a rivalry game as this is, it is hard for me to sit here and look at this game and say that Michigan has a chance.
Well, we know you're rooting for them. We know you're rooting for Michigan.
Yeah, but I'm also very I am honest within the context of I'm not a homer when it comes to being honest about the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing at Michigan, which gives Michigan a little bit of an edge in terms of just being competitive. But even though it's at Michigan, it's still a 9.5 point spread.
Do you take Ohio State? Are you taking the points? Are you taking them to cover? I mean, I'm assuming you're taking Ohio State to win, even though you don't want them to. But
dude, my brain, everything in my brain says Ohio State covers.
But that's what we said last year.
I know that's the part that I'm having a really hard time is last year I said the exact same thing.
And Michigan
won't even be a game.
Was not intimidated at all.
That's the thing is Michigan, in this
that's
game,
what makes this rivalry so awesome.
That is what makes it good because it does not matter how good the other team is. They don't care. They're like, okay, I've beat, I went to school with those guys. They all know each other. They all went to high school together, different. They don't care. So they're not intimidated by the fact that Ohio State's number 1. With that being said, the mental part of me, which I'm going to follow, says that Ohio State wins and covers. I don't think that Bryce Underwood has had to play under this kind of pressure ever. And I think the first time around, unless he just comes out and
fires, slinging
unless he comes out and this is his like national coming of age moment on the stage
to prove why he was the
to
number
prove
one
why
player
he was
in
the number.
the class.
Yeah. Now, if he does that, then maybe. But other than that, I think Ohio State wins and covers.
Another noon game here for you. Number 12 Miami at number 22 Pitt. If Miami,
should I wait till after this show to just go throw up? I mean, God,
Miami's favored by 6.5. It's almost like if Miami wins this game, especially if they win it handily, they'll probably be in the college football playoff, which is insane to think about.
I think there's a decent chance Miami spits the bit.
I know you're hoping they do.
Well, I think that's who Miami is, you know? Like I just think the minute Miami is like the dad who like doesn't come home very often, you know, like you want them to be better than they really are. You want them to be a great dad, but every once in a while they show up and give you hope. That's Miami. Like,
yeah,
they're like, yep, we're going to be really good this year. We're going to be really good. Oh, hey, they're 9-2. Oh, they're 10-2, whatever. And then they go and lose to somebody they shouldn't lose to.
Yeah.
So I think
this game's at Pitt. It'll be cold
Pitt,
too.
Yeah. And Pitt, the only time Pitt's really, looked not very good is against Notre Dame, who is really good.
Yeah.
So what's the line on this one?
Miami's favored by 6.5.
Ooh, what do you, and it's at Pitt.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Miami plays on the coast, like bottom of Florida. They're not used to it being cold.
No, they're not. And I think it's going to be like this weekend, there is a cold snap coming through.
Yeah, because it's going to be cold here.
It's going to be 31 degrees in South Carolina tonight. So this weekend in Pittsburgh, it's going to be freaking cold as balls.
Exactly. And Miami's not used to that at all.
There's no way I would even pick Miami to cover. I don't even know if I can pick Miami to win.
Cold to Miami is like 65 degrees.
Yeah. So my heart does not allow me to pick Miami. I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
You're taking Pitt to win, huh?
I'm taking Pitt to win.
You're not a Carson Beck believer?
I do not believe. I'm not a believer. But he could show up. I mean, he's had games where he's come out and just spun it, dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think this one was literally flip a coin in the air. So
hey, dude, there's so many good games. Let's continue to talk about them. Another game. This is at noon on the ACC network. Kentucky at Louisville. Now, this is going to be, again, an interesting game because at this point of the year, like when Kentucky, a few weeks ago, you would have thought, if I would have told you Kentucky has a chance to still go to a bowl game when they're in rivalry week at Louisville, you probably would have told me you're crazy. But they do. Louisville's been playing horribly lately. If you take out that game against Vanderbilt, Kentucky had won 2 straight SEC games. I mean, they were playing their best ball of the year, and Kentucky's had a little bit of a history when they're at Louisville, and Louisville's the better team. They pull out a victory. I mean, when they had Lamar Jackson, Kentucky was able to beat them. When they were a top 10 team in 2023, Kentucky was able to beat them. I mean, I would not be surprised if Kentucky wins this game, and Vegas has it being close. Louisville's favored by only 3.5. I feel like this is going to be a pretty good game.
Well, I think that, so if you just think mentally, like, okay, where are these two teams mentally in the season?
And Louisville, I mean, again, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, you would have thought Louisville could have had a chance to be in the AC title game, had a chance to be in the college football playoff.
They were 7-1.
Yeah.
And they were pushing towards a potential run at the playoff. Like you said, they've lost 3 in a row. Kentucky, other than the loss last week to Vanderbilt, was 2-5, and now they're pushing for a playoff spot. You got two teams going in opposite directions. Yeah, bowl spot. That's what I meant, bowl spot. So you got two teams going in opposite directions mentally. I agree with you. I think, Kentucky's got a real chance to come in here. They're playing for more than Louisville is. So
yeah, because Louisville's already in a bowl game. They're not playing for an ACC title spot. They're not playing for a college football playoff spot anymore.
So what's
They're
Louisville
7-4.
What's Louisville playing for other than just pride?
Yeah, exactly. And Kentucky, Louisville, they blew you out at home last year. You're, winning and losing this game determines if you go to a bowl game or not. And again, it's a rivalry game. In the last decade, Kentucky's dominated this rivalry. I mean, I think they've led the series in the last decade 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, who are you going to take?
I'm taking Kentucky.
Really? You're going with the Wildcats?
Yeah.
Do you think it's close, or do you think Kentucky dominates?
I think it's a tight game. Louisville could easily win it, so I'm just picking basically based on the way that they're trending right now.
Yeah. All right. The game in our homeland. The game between two disappointments.
Yes.
The game between two teams that the parents have said you're adopted. 6-5 Clemson at 4-7 South Carolina.
The game between the two teams where if they were children, we're making lots of family analogies. You would be sitting at the table right now going, where did I go wrong with you two?
Literally. It's like, dude, it's really crazy because these two teams had such high expectations. At the beginning of the year, before the season started, we thought that this game would determine a playoff spot. Like kind of like last year, even though it didn't determine a playoff spot, but we thought it was going to. This year, it definitely won't determine a playoff spot because one of these teams isn't even making a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson's 6-5 right now, so they're bowl eligible right now.
But still disappointing season.
I mean, yeah, going into this now, Clemson's kind of been on the downward trend, just as a program for the last few years. So while Clemson's probably just super disappointed, I'm not super shocked to see them where they are this right now.
Remember at the beginning of the year when Dabo said he thought that they were going to be the first 16-0 team?
I still can't believe that came out of his mouth. Like he must have been smoking peyote that day or something. That's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, especially in today's environment.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to go 16-0.
I mean,
a team hasn't done it yet.
Almost, yeah.
15-0 has happened, but not 16-0.
Literally, yeah. And so that was insanity. But South Carolina last year was knocking on the door of the college football playoff. Exactly. A lot of people thought they should have been in. They were coming back with, Lenora Sellers, who at the time, everyone was saying one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Dylan Stewart on the D-line,
who is an animal. I mean, that guy
still is an animal.
That's what I'm saying. He is an animal. Like that guy is a legit threat, big time player. And has shown up the whole year. I mean, he's making plays all over the place. It's just, and South Carolina's really good in the secondary. Honestly, I mean, South Carolina's entire season has been the story of how bad their offense is, right? Their defense is actually pretty darn good, but they've just getting hung out to dry and they're sitting on the field the entire game. And
it's
eventually,
exactly what we talked about with Texas. I mean, when you're on the game,
they just kind of start to break down.
Most of the game, you're just going to get tired.
Yeah.
And you just get worn out.
And you start to break down. So the real question here is, can South Carolina find some offense against a beleaguered, Clemson football team?
So last week, Mike Furry has been the offensive coordinator for 2 games, and they scored past their average the last 2 games. Now, they didn't win against Texas A&M, and they definitely should have. And then last week, they put up 51 points against Coastal Carolina, and I know that's Coastal Carolina.
But you've been saying the whole year that Coastal Carolina was the best football team in South Carolina. You were incorrect.
Record-wise, they were. They had scored 40 points in their last 4 games, but Coastal was out their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And Coastal was out a couple guys. Coastal's quarterback, I think, is out until their bowl game.
Well, I will tell you, like you said.
That would have made a difference in the outcome, but still.
The first half against A&M, I really liked the way that South Carolina looked on offense. Like, not just that they scored points, but I liked what they were doing. I felt like they were playing much more to their advantages, to the advantage of Sellers' athletic ability. I felt like they did some different things in the run game to get the run game going. A&M made a lot of adjustments and just shut them down in the second half. But 3 of the last 4 halves of football, South Carolina's looked pretty darn good on offense. Now, if they can figure out how to do that again against Clemson, South Carolina wins a football game.
So the line has changed drastically. Last week, Clemson was favored by 5.5.
No,
however,
3.5 now.
No, South Carolina's favored by 3.5. South Carolina was favored by 2.5 on Sunday. Now they're favored by 3.5.
It is at Williams-Brice, so it's in
South
Columbia.
Carolina has not beaten Clemson and Williams-Brice since 2013 when Connor Shaw was the quarterback.
Jeez.
And Jadeveon Clowney was on the defensive line.
Well, I will say this. I think South Carolina is going to win this football game.
Really?
Yeah. I think South Carolina has played – I know South Carolina has played one of the most difficult schedules in the entire country.
That was one of the biggest things that I've heard from a lot of analysts, because even though South Carolina is not going to a bowl game and Clemson has, they've said South Carolina is a lot more battle tested.
They are.
I
think if you throw Clemson into South Carolina's schedule, they may win like 2 to 3 football games.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson has not played very much competition this year. I don't know if they've played any teams that are currently ranked. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. I mean, every team they've played is not ranked right now. I think their best win, if you're going specifically, they lost to SMU. That's the only team they've played that's currently ranked, and SMU is ranked number 22. And they lost to them by double digits. I mean, yeah, and the best win they have is against, not even joking, I think their best win right now, well, it's Louisville, but Louisville's playing horribly. So their best win right now, I think, is either Louisville or Troy.
Yeah. And then if you look at South Carolina's schedule, like even in their losses, right, other than the loss to Vanderbilt, which was 31-7, they've been pretty competitive. You know, if you look at their loss to Missouri, they lost 29-20. LSU, they lost 20-10. Alabama, 29-22. They almost knocked off Bama. Ole Miss, 30-14. A&M, 31-30. So they've got 7 losses, but literally almost every one of them's within 14 points, other than that beatdown that they kind of took from Vanderbilt. So I just think, like you said, South Carolina is much more battle tested. Their schedule's a ton harder. They've been competitive, even though they haven't been able to really find their offense. I think that they could potentially beat Clemson by 2 touchdowns.
So Clemson, get this. Now, Clemson is very, we kind of talked about this before we went live. Clemson is pretty injury depleted. I mean, they don't have Bryant Wesco. He's out the rest of the year. They lost him a few weeks ago. They don't have Olsen Pat Henry anymore. He got hurt against Furman, and he's out the rest of the season. They don't have their defensive lineman, Miles Capehart, anymore. He's out the rest of the season. And they lost one other defensive lineman that's a starter. Now, South Carolina, on the other hand, last week against Coastal Carolina, they didn't have Nick Harbor, and they didn't have Dylan Stewart playing. I heard they were not playing Dylan Stewart because he had a nagging back injury since the Ole Miss game, and they wanted to be on the safe side because, let's be honest, you'd much rather not have your star defensive player versus Coastal Carolina than against your arch rival.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they also didn't have Nick Harbor playing because against Texas A&M, after that game, he ended up going to the hospital, and he had to stay the night in College Station.
What was the deal with that? What did he injure?
I think
it looked like his hamstring
something like that, because it was on that catch he made, which was a sensational catch, by the way.
No, that was a great catch.
But Nick Harbor, I mean, we don't know if he'll be playing, but again, Nick Harbor's been trending up. He's been playing better.
There's no question. Yeah, he's a legitimate threat. Like, I've never not that I've never seen, but like you said, that dude's like a Megatron type guy. Like he is one of the biggest men on the field.
Yeah.
And like that catch that he made against A&M,
where it was on a 4th down, by the way.
4th down, where he like outran all these DBs that looked like they should have been twice as fast.
Oh, you're talking about the touchdown.
The touchdown where he just like he was like,
yeah.
I mean, there's 2 guys that should have been able to walk him, but if they were fast, like they could have. You'd normally see a guy his size
on the corner.
Yeah, one of them had an angle on him. Like, he just outran everybody. That dude is a insane athlete.
So
just a freak.
Would you like to hear a fun fact?
Sure, fun fact.
Cade Klubnik, he is a senior. This is his final regular season game of college football. He has never thrown a touchdown pass against South Carolina.
Wow.
He's rushed for 2. He rushed for 2 touchdowns last season, but he's never thrown a touchdown. When he started in 2023, their only touchdown against the Gamecocks was a scoop and score that South Carolina thought was a dead ball, and then after that, he led 3 drives that resulted in field goals, but he never threw a touchdown.
Well, like I said, I'm buying South Carolina. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. You?
I'm taking Clemson.
Okay.
I think Clemson wins because
why?
I think Dabo Swinney is giving them the underdog speech. I think he's going to say, hey, no one believes you could come in and win. This team isn't even making a bowl game, and they think they're going to walk all over you. I think Clemson comes in and dominates this game. I think Clemson wins by 17 points or more.
Okay. This will be an interesting one to revisit next week. I picked South Carolina by 2 touchdowns. You picked Clemson by 17. The line is 3.5. One of us is going to be very wrong. It will be interesting to see which way that one goes.
I'm a South Carolina graduate. I would love to be wrong.
Hey, I'm a South Carolina grad. I've got my master's from South Carolina. I coached at South Carolina for 4 years. I'm not picking them because I'm a homer.
No,
because I've talked about how bad they are the whole year. I've watched Clemson play, and I've never, like, there's not been one time that I've watched Clemson play and been impressed with anything. When I watch South Carolina play, there are things that are impressive about them. And I think if not consistently and not all, cohesively, but I think offensively, they're starting to figure some things out.
I don't know, man. I just there's something about me that tells me that Clemson's going to win this game. Well, and that's just what I'm going with. I hope I'm wrong, though.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Let's see. Oh, by the way, this is random, I know. But before we get into more rivalry week talk, the FCS playoffs start this week. And last week, remember, or 2 weeks ago, we had talked about Tennessee Tech and Kentucky.
Yeah.
You had talked about if Tennessee Tech, they played UT Martin to end their season. 2 teams you coached against at Murray State.
Correct.
Tennessee Tech finishes the regular season 10-1 after beating UT Martin 20-17 in an OVC slobber knocker.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you see teams change too. Because when I was at Murray, like UT Martin was just terrible. I mean, they were like give me a terrible football team.
UMass.
Yeah, they were like the UMass of the OVC. Like you knew you were going to hang 50 on them every time you played them. Like
it was them and Austin P, right?
They were that bad. Yeah.
Was Tennessee Tech bad, or were they solid?
No, Tennessee Tech was they were like Virginia Tech or Georgia Tech. They were going to win 7.
They didn't win the whole thing.
Yeah,
they were going to be solid.
They were going to win 7 or 8 games every year. They were always super good on defense, super physical. Good running game. Just weren't super athletic usually.
Well, Tennessee Tech has now earned a bye in the FCS playoffs after being 10-1 and 11-1 with their only loss being to Kentucky.
Let's go Eagles.
How about that, man? All right, back into rivalry week talk, because again, this is best week of the year, and I know that we said beforehand this was going to be the longest episode of the year.
Did we say that?
Yeah, because I mean it's rivalry week. There's so much to talk about.
LSU, Oklahoma, or Oregon, Washington.
Ooh, yeah, because I was about to say I don't think LSU Oklahoma is going to be much of an entertaining game. LSU has no offense, and Oklahoma, they don't have much of an offense either. But
they're great on defense.
Did you see LSU barely make it out alive against Western Kentucky?
LSU is a beleaguered football team right now. Beleaguered.
I mean, good Lord.
That is a program that is a dumpster fire. I mean, they're 7-4, but from the standpoint of expectations and actually what they've done this year, it's a dumpster fire.
Dude, do you want to know the funny thing? I don't know if you saw any of the game when LSU played Western Kentucky, but it was actually the funniest thing ever.
They almost lost to the Hilltops.
So, no, this is what was so funny about it, right? They're up 13-3 with, I think, 2.5 minutes left in the game. And they're talking about Brian Kelly's son coming out for senior day. Brian Kelly wasn't there. He wasn't there for senior day. And,
his son is on the football team?
Yeah. And Brian Kelly's son lifted up his jersey, and it said on a shirt, free Brian Kelly. And they come out of the replay to show the play. LSU fumbles the ball. Western Kentucky picks it up for a scoop and score.
So was he playing?
Yes.
So he actually plays?
I think so.
What position does he play?
He's a lineman. I think it was either offensive or defensive. I don't know if he's a starter, but I know he's on the team.
Okay. So he had a free Brian Kelly shirt on, and then they scoop in Western Kentucky scoop and score the
very next play.
That's about right for the LSU season.
And they were and it's funny because the commentators were like, oh yeah, great moment for Brian Kelly's son. Oh, and Western Kentucky's gonna score.
Bruce, you're gonna blow my ears off. Holy cow! The people on the radio right now are gonna blow their ears off. Their stereo just probably popped. I can't believe BK wasn't there for senior day. It's his kid.
I mean, let's be for real. I feel like if Brian Kelly did show up, he'd have to sit in the Western Kentucky section, or else he wasn't going to make it out alive.
Still, it's his kid.
I know. That's what I said.
I'd be like, give me a box somewhere or something.
Yeah.
That would have been part of my contract. I've been like, hey, at least let me come back for senior day.
Let him go on the field with his son, and as they're recognizing him, Brian Kelly could go do that little dance thing that he did.
I don't think his son would want that to happen.
No. All right. So we've already talked about. I mean, Oklahoma's favored by 10.5 against LSU. I've got the Sooners covering.
Yeah, Vandy, Tennessee is an interesting game.
Dude, yeah, because
9-2. When's the last time Vandy went into this game with a better record than Tennessee?
when was the last time Vandy came into this record with something big on the line like they do right now?
Yeah,
I mean Vandy is
14, right?
Dude, they're playing for a possible playoff
That's
spot.
what I'm saying. They're knocking at the door because if you look at the rankings right now,
Miami's in front of them, and we think Pitt's going to beat Miami, so that would cause them to fall. And then Utah is in front. Utah plays Kansas. Kansas is 5-6. They're also fighting for a bowl spot. With how bad Utah's defense has been the last week, Kansas could probably, if they're able to make something happen, they could shake things up. But Vandy's got to obviously take care of business in their own game first. And depending on how they can play in Neyland at Tennessee, if they perform well enough, they could jump the team a team or two ahead of them, even if the team a two ahead of them wins.
Yeah, there's a few different
scenarios.
What if Ole Miss is a team that has struggled, right? They're a team that they should win, but there's games that they've played where they, were playing tight with teams that they shouldn't play tight with. So there's a few teams in the top 12 that could lose.
Yeah.
And so Vanderbilt is playing for a potential spot in the college football playoff in this game against Tennessee. So how does that? But Tennessee can score, dude.
They can, but so can Vanderbilt.
So how do you think this one shakes out? This is to me is one of the more intriguing games of the week.
Yeah, it's definitely not a game to overlook. I feel like, because again, this is a pretty important game. It's the battle for Tennessee. Both teams are pretty good. They're both in the top 20. I think Tennessee knows they're probably not going to make the college football playoff because they've got 3 losses, but Vandy's got a lot to play for. And this is a pretty underrated rivalry right now. Because Tennessee's
kind of under the radar.
Tennessee's won the last few ones, but Vandy's been coming up as a program. Clark Lee's done a phenomenal job.
Oh yeah. What's interesting is everyone's talking about Lane Kiffin. Like, where's Lane Kiffin going to go? If I'm a major college program, I'm going after Clark Lee. If I'm one of these empty seats, if I'm a Florida or an LSU or somebody like that, I'm going after that dude.
Because that man has taken that program.
If you can win at
Vandy,
if you can do what they're doing at Vandy, come on,
dude, he's doing better than James Franklin did there.
I know, and there's no question. Now, so a couple things. This one's at Neyland Stadium, which is
a very hard place to play.
Let me just tell you, if you've never played at Neyland Stadium,
because you've coached there.
Oh my gosh, this place is a difficult place to play. One of the things that's unique about this stadium, if you've never been in it, is it's like most stadiums are kind of built out like a bowl.
It just goes straight
up, dude. It is like almost like walls that you're playing inside of. And so it feels like the crowd is on top of you. It's louder because of that, because the sound doesn't dissipate. It is one of the coolest stadiums I've ever played in, and it is one of the hardest places to play. It's loud. It's intimidating.
Was it harder than LSU?
I would say it was equally as difficult. Yeah. The only thing that makes LSU really, really hard to play is
fans
are just so freaking raucous. Tennessee is more of like a classic SEC, but
they just pack it out.
Yeah. And their stadium holds over 110,000 people.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest stadiums in the country, and they're all right on top of you. So yeah, I would say, if both teams are equally good, I think Tennessee's a harder place to play. So can Diego Pavia and the crowd step up and get in there with Tennessee at Neyland?
Vandy's been able to perform well in some hard environments.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at that game versus Texas, Vandy should have recovered that onside kick, and Vandy honestly probably would have won.
I agree.
Texas is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And they were able to compete with Alabama and Bryant Denny for a while. Because that score is not telling of how the game actually went, because Bama scored a touchdown to go up by double digits with 2 minutes left in the game, just to try to make it look better.
Yeah, I don't think Vandy's intimidated by anybody.
No.
Right? It's really, to me, it's okay, can Vandy stay away from turnovers?
I think they can.
And then can they slow down the Tennessee offense? Because Tennessee can score points. I think offensively, Vandy will be fine against Tennessee's defense. I think they'll figure out how to score points. I think they'll control the football. That's another thing, too. If they can establish the run game and not have to throw it every down, like half of this game is keeping Tennessee off the field.
Cedric Alexander is a stud. I mean, that guy is a good running back. And then Diego Pavia, again, that's a mobile guy. So you've got to account for both his arm and his legs.
So Tennessee's favored by 3.5. But here's how I think if Vandy wins, here's how they win. Control the football, time of possession, keep Tennessee's offense off the field, don't turn the ball over.
Do you think they can do it?
I think they can do it. Yeah. Now I'm not saying they're going to do it. I think, but if on the other side of the coin, if Vandy turns the ball over a couple times, gives Tennessee a couple short fields, and they have to throw it all the time, they can't run the ball, Tennessee, could win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So this is one of those ones where it's like, to me, this is all in Vandy's hands.
Yeah.
Like, can Vandy be a ball control offense on a ball control offense? So what's your pick on this one?
I'm going to take Vandy. I'm taking the Commodores.
Yeah.
I think they go in, and I think
they cover. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like Vandy's playing for more.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to spend much time on this one.
Here's what I would say. So I want Vandy to win. I don't know why, but I think Tennessee's going to win. I want Vandy to win. Like, that's who I mean,
I don't blame you for thinking Tennessee's going to win. It's in Neyland.
But there's just a part of me that thinks that Vandy's not going to be able to keep up offensively. But the one thing I don't know is I'm not like super dialed in on how good Tennessee is on defense. I just think they're okay. So I honestly, it's a coin toss for me.
Yeah.
So
real quick one. 7-4 Missouri at 2-9 Arkansas. Midwest rivalry, but Missouri's only favored by 2.5. Arkansas can score, but they can't stop anyone.
Yeah, and Missouri's okay
on defense.
Okay on defense, and has not been as productive on offense as they were in the beginning of the year.
I think Missouri. I still think though Missouri wins.
Yeah,
definitely covers. I just wanted to bring that up because it's an SEC rivalry, and the spread was pretty interesting. A lot more interesting than you would expect. Here you go, another Big Ten rivalry. We talked that kind of like slobber knocker. Wisconsin at Minnesota. Gophers favored by 1.5. Again, 13-10 is probably going to be your final score.
It's at Minnesota.
Yeah, and with Minnesota, but they're only favored by 1.5. I'm taking the Gophers.
Yeah, I take the Gophers too. Although I think it'll be a pretty good football game. That's another one of those games where we won't get it down here in the South. But that's kind of like,
unless you have the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, that's Which if you do, you're still going to watch the SEC. Like,
it's on Fox Sports 1, so you'll get it.
But that's kind of like an Iowa-Nebraska game. Like that's kind of a Big Ten slugfest.
Penn State at Rutgers. Winner goes to a bowl game. Terry Smith has done a phenomenal job as the interim head coach for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, I've been surprised. Like, they're playing hard. They didn't fold the tents.
No, they're still trying to play to go to a postseason game, and I respect that. Rutgers is trying to do the same thing. So Penn State's favored by 13.5. I think I'll take the Nittany Lions to cover with how their defense has been playing.
Yeah, I agree with you. 7:30 at night on Saturday is the Iron Bowl, Alabama-Auburn.
We didn't get to talk about the game that everyone's looking forward to.
What's that?
Florida State at Florida. the battle of what?
It's the toilet bowl.
Could you call that the battle of swamp ass? Like you called that earlier?
Yeah, I would say
against Miami,
you'd
Florida.
Probably definitely call it that. It's like swamp ass 2. I mean, it's like 2 seriously underperforming football teams, 2 teams that had really high hopes going into the season who have let their fans and themselves down dramatically.
Florida State 5-6, Florida's 3-8, yet Florida's favored by 1.5. I'm going to take Florida State to win because they're still playing to try to get to a bowl game, even though it's a crappy one.
Isn't it in the swamp?
Yeah, it's in the swamp.
That's why they're favored. Florida State is just like the way they have folded the tent. Like, I just don't.
You would have thought they would have made the playoff after beating Alabama.
Just to how athletic and how talented they are. It's just like sometimes you'll watch them and just go, how are you not better than you are? I watched all those kids run around the field and see how good they are athletically, but they just can't seem to like pull it together and be cohesive as a team. It's just super disappointing.
Again, and we don't know what version of Florida is going to come on the field. So,
and you don't know what version of Florida State's going to come on the field either.
It could be the version that beat Alabama or the version that lost to Clemson.
Right.
And then Virginia Tech, again, they've also been struggling at Virginia. Virginia, again, Virginia's another one of those teams that, like, if things go their way, they could possibly sneak in, but they need a lot of help. But Virginia's hoping to beat Virginia Tech for the first time since 2019. I think they do it. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Virginia doesn't win this game. They're favored by 8.5. It's also being played in Charlottesville at Virginia. I think the Cavs take care of business.
Yep. And Chandler Morris has been back for now a week or two, and he's a really good quarterback. So I'm with you. I take Virginia on that
one. Number 10, Alabama at Auburn in Jordan-Hare.
The
Alabama favored by 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Auburn covers the spread. Because the last few times that Alabama has played Auburn in Jordan-Hare, Alabama has to fight for their life to get out with a win. Even when they win, they don't cover.
Well, Jordan-Hare is like a difficult place to play. And this is one of those games, too, where if you're not in the South or even if you're not in the SEC and you don't pay as much of attention to this, Alabama could give two rats' asses about what Alabama's record is in a year when they play Alabama.
Auburn.
Auburn. They do not care. Like, this is a game that Auburn kids think they can win.
It's another hate-filled rivalry. They hate each other.
So this one's one where you throw the records out. I mean, I remember that. I can't remember what year it was, but Alabama was ranked number 1 in the country, went into Jordan-Hare, and they had that crazy extra point return for the touchdown.
Oh, 2013, the kick six.
The kick six. Like, I mean, there's just crazy stuff that happens in this game.
Or how about in 2021 when Bryce Young, it was like 4th and goal from the 31-yard line, he throws a touchdown pass.
Yeah, it's just a nut. Like, this is one of those games where it's not just a rivalry game. It seems like there's always something weird that happens in this game. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, that's the weirdest play I've ever seen.
But it's always when it happens at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah,
because when it's played in Tuscaloosa, like it's never really close.
No, it's always when it's at Auburn.
So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be paying attention to that game. Not really entertaining from a record perspective. UCLA at number 17, Southern Cal, but I haven't seen this game played on Rivalry Week in a really long time. Southern Cal is favored by 21.5. I'm taking the Trojans to cover.
Yep, an old Pac-12 rivalry here.
Yep.
Between UCLA and USC.
Here you go, and a Big Ten rivalry. 6-5 Northwestern at 7-4 Illinois. I mean, Northwestern punched their ticket to a bowl game last week after beating Minnesota 38-35.
Illinois has been up and down the whole year. They're a good football team, but you don't know who's going to roll out.
Illinois is favored by 6.5. If you live in the state of Illinois, not too far from Champaign, tickets are as low as $6 for a rivalry game. I would certainly take that. This is going to be an interesting game. I feel like it's going to be a defensive game. Both teams have good defenses.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd take Illinois to win just because it's at Illinois.
Yeah.
North Carolina at NC State. My goodness. NC State is 6-5. They're going to a bowl game. North Carolina's 4-7. The Bill Belichick train is not working out like they thought they would. Who would have thought that? Yeah, I'm taking the Wolfpack.
Yeah, I'm taking North Carolina State as
well. Let's see.
Notre Dame, Stanford. This is one like
dude, the Irish are favored by 31.5.
I know. But this used to be a really interesting game. Stanford used to be like they were the Wisconsin of the West.
Don't we miss that? I miss it.
I miss Toby Gearhart and the freaking
and Andrew Luck and Kevin Hogan.
3 tight ends,
McCaffrey.
3 tight end sets where you come out with ace personnel and an extra tight end and run freaking triple counter and just drive the ball down people's throats and then throw play action. Like, that was the Stanford of old. Now this is the Stanford of new. They're brutal. They're terrible. 31
when you have Frank
points.
Reich as your coach, you're going to be terrible. I say that as a Panthers fan that had Frank Reich and then he got fired midway through the year.
Andrew Luck, can you please explain to us what you're doing as the athletic director? Isn't it Andrew Luck? Isn't he the athletic director?
I thought he was the director of football operations. Okay. I don't know which one.
Okay. He's okay.
Regardless, they suck.
Regardless, they're brutal. Notre Dame favored by 31.5 points
at Stanford. Well, honestly, if you've seen how Notre Dame has been playing,
do you have the courage to take the points?
Yes,
I do.
I have the courage.
I am taking Notre Dame and the points. Notre Dame to cover at Stanford Stadium.
Yeah, Notre Dame covers. And then let's see. I'm just gonna say 2 quick things about these because again, they're rivalry games. UNLV at Nevada. Nevada's had an abysmal year. UNLV somehow only favored by 7.5. I guess that's just because it's being played in Reno. I'm taking Dan Mullen and the Fighting Rebels to cover. And then Fresno State at San Jose State. Fresno's favored by 3.5. The battle for the oil can. I'm taking the Bulldogs to win that one. And the battle for the quote-unquote Pac-12 title, since there's only 2 teams in the conference, Oregon State at Washington State. These 2 have already played this year, and they're playing again. It's like the NFL.
I still don't understand the Pac-12.
I don't either.
How can you have 2 teams in the Pac-12?
I don't know. I think, but either next year or the year after, they're adding, I think, 7 or 8 more teams that are like in the Mountain West right now.
I was just about to say, is basically the old Mountain West is going to become the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Boise State going in, like all those teams.
Oregon State won.
Actually, I think that's good. Like I think the Pac-12 needs to be
a thing.
Yeah. Like you can't just die. Like that's too much a part of college football history.
Exactly.
So I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, me too. Oregon State won the first matchup in Corvallis. This is being played in Pullman. Washington State favored by 13.5. I think they get revenge and both teams share the Pac-12 title. Yeah.
It's comical.
Yeah. Wake Forest at Duke, battle of the nerds in North Carolina, battle of the Christian schools. Duke favored by 1.5. That could be an under the radar game. Outside of that, I mean, that's really basically it. Unless you want to talk about Maryland, Michigan State.
No, I'm good. They both suck. I think we covered all the good games. It's and we're at 1 hour and 20. So
dude, it's rivalry week.
It's rivalry
so
week.
Happy.
Get your popcorn, get your whatever you're cooking. You should have tons of leftovers from Thanksgiving.
You better
cook extra food so you don't have to cook anything on Friday and Saturdays. Lots of warming up stuff in the microwave.
By the end of the weekend, hopefully you're either really happy or really mad.
But either way, you probably will have gained 10 pounds.
Exactly. Because you won't have left your couch and won't have left your TV.
Get up every morning and get a workout in before football starts.
That's what I'm going to be doing.
That's what I'm doing too. I got mine in this morning. I get up early, get that workout done so that you can not feel guilty and eat the rest of the day.
Exactly.
Right. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for joining the show.
Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys have an amazing holiday with your family and friends. Please stay safe. And
we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rivalry
for college
weekend.
Football.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother.
All right. See you guys next week.
Go college football.